Hello
Hey,
and good evening, and welcome to The
the truth
Truth Behind the
the truth.
Truth.
Yes.
And we're starting out by saying Happy
Happy
Pride. All right, Happy Pride Month
Pride.
all over the country. So,
Yes.
welcome. And
Yes.
we will be talking about Pride quite a bit this evening.
Yeah.
We want to bring some good education about the event and what it
Mm.
means, and take away some of the stigma.
Yeah.
Okay, and there's a lot of stigma going on right now about Pride. So we're going to get into that a little bit tonight. But we're happy to see you tonight. So hopefully that if you have anybody in the LGBTQ community, that you are embracing them and making them feel welcome in your family, yeah, and in your churches and everywhere else that applicably applies. All right, because people are people, and people need love. People need love. You need love. They need love. Everybody needs love. Okay.
Everybody needs love.
So just love on them. All right. You may not
Love.
understand everything about them because, hey, you know what? Heterosexual people, people don't understand everything about y'all. but we'll get into that a little bit later. All right.
Lord,
It's gonna be a fun-filled night. I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun-filled. We're gonna do some talking tonight. Woo. But anyway, our regular co-host Harold is under the weather. Okay, he will be back with us next week. Okay, we did check on him earlier today, so he sends his loving and everything to all of you, our listening audience. So he'll be back with us next week. Okay, Parnell is stuck in traffic here, getting to his part of the studio here in LA. So he'll be joining us shortly to continue on in our conversation. So, but again, that's where everybody is. So it's just the two of them. But you know what? Hey, you got the originators.
Yeah.
This is the originators. This is the truth.
It's not a first for us.
Oh,
no. It's been a minute.
Right.
We have opened this up for the both of us.
That's true. That's absolutely.
So, yes.
So it has been a wonderful. Can you guys? We have been doing this, bringing to you for over 5 years.
Woo.
Realistically, it has been that long. That we developed the truth behind the truth and this concept.
Yeah.
And what
Miss Alma, how you
hey,
doing?
Miss Alma, and we really want to and desiring and aspiring to take this to the next level. Okay,
yes.
But we need your support. Okay, and being able to do that. Making our content stronger, our presence stronger. So that the network show that's replacing Dr. Phil can put us in that slot. Okay, so hey, it's coming up. So hey, the truth behind the truth, and these 4 beautiful, handsome men, well knowledge, can take over that spot. So I'm just putting that in the universe, okay, and putting a demand on that. But along with that support, okay, we are available for you to send contributing some money to us, okay, which we need, all right, to keep this show going, all right. So you can actually send to us via Cash App, okay. Just go to your Cash App app and just type in The Truth Behind the Truth, and it will pop up for you, okay, and then send those millions and all those type of things that you're really willing to send. But Cash App, you had to break it down in thousands, so they won't take the million at one time, but you have to break it down in thousands on that. And then we're also available on Venmo as well. I think at some point we will put the QR code up for our Venmo account as well. So send some money. We need it. Right. All right. But no, we send a lot of love to you guys. We do send 100% of love to you guys, out there today. So we're going to get in. But Hunt, how are you?
I am all right. I feel good. This past week it's been kind of crazy. It's been kind of. I don't know what to say. It's weird.
I agree. It has been a very weird atmosphere.
Yeah, it's
Excuse me, guys. Just adjusting our camera here.
But it's been a weird situation in the news everywhere. It just seemed like you just have to step away from certain things to get yourself together. So let's just say it's been weird, but it's been okay. It's been okay. I don't like to put a damper because life is life, and we have to just keep pushing and keep striving and keep at least going towards some form of positivity in your own situation, because I don't like to put too much on the world, but let's just say humanity itself is going through a PP.
I agree with that.
Going through a PP, which is a personal problem. I love that. A PP. I've been using that on everybody on my job. Like, you seem like you're going through a PP, honey. A personal problem.
Well, hey, I cannot argue with that, because humanity is definitely going through a serious personal problem right now. I mean,
personal,
But it's funny that you brought that up. I guess about the adjusting to the atmosphere and what's going on, because in my opinion, you guys should, from a spiritual level, you can hopefully follow me. What I'm saying about this. I believe the universe is yelling right now.
It is
okay, and it's yelling, and it's moving, and it's shifting. And if you're not willing to go where the shift is, it's going to be a problem. You know what I'm saying? It really is. It's going to be a problem at the end of the day. And I know some of you that sit on the religious platform think that this is the point of the beginning of the end. But y'all, I'm going to tell you about the beginning of the end since I began. Okay, so this is just an opportunity for humanity to recognize where its faults are and get to the place where, which we're going to talk a lot about love. Okay, and if you find yourself not loving people, hey, that sends the wrong message to the universe at the end, because the universe is made of love. Okay, it came from our creator. It's made of love. You're made of love. I'm made of love. He's made of love. Everybody's made of love. So once we get that opportunity and stop getting in people's bedrooms and what they do behind closed doors, I think we will be in a better place. Okay, but we'll get into that a little bit later. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we stay up out of people's bedrooms and get our own bedrooms.
Okay,
right.
Well, okay, now, all right.
Sweep around your own front door before you sweep around mine. I'm just saying.
Yes, indeed.
And it takes that type of personal. I would say re-examination. You know, to be honest with you, it's just right now, it's just society is just going through a little bit of a ticking situation. Right. I don't want to call it a ticking time bomb, but a ticking situation right now, because a lot of people are really, and I think it might be the election season that's coming around the corner. That could be amping up all types of craziness that's going on. But it's just the fact that I think people are just going through a lot of mental situations that are not positive.
It's true.
They're not positive. Truth behind the truth. I think it's just so much going on that it's just not good.
Well, you know, this is which we've shared on the show. We'll continue to talk about it throughout the month. Is that this is Mental Wellness Month, number one.
Wellness, yes.
And you know, one thing. Let me just put this out there. I'm so glad to see that the conversation is getting stronger about getting help, seeing therapy. Because realistically, y'all, people we all need therapy.
Yes, we do. Yes,
you know, I mean, so I'm not saying this to be like I don't need no therapy. I don't need no help, because still, child, some days, okay, you know. Yeah. But it really is a really great opportunity to focus on the need for that, because with all of these mass shootings, with all of these things that are going on, all of these unnecessary personal opinions that come out, and what we're doing with this is interjecting our own issues into a situation that we think we're getting relief from. Okay, now we can break that down. You know what I mean? Like the people that does mass shootings. Okay, they're overcompensating with something they didn't get in childhood. Otherwise, some experience, they don't feel good about themselves. So guess what? They're going to go out and try to destroy someone else's life because they don't feel good about themselves. Yeah. Number one. Okay, let's stay with that. From a political perspective, oh my goodness. Oh, wow. No. Here is I put the wrong finger up.
Don't flick
but you know, from the political perspective, now to kind of leeway into that, you know, these people are in these political positions are so much involved in what they are going in their own traumas. These people cannot tell me that they have come from very healthy lifestyles. No. You take Marjorie Taylor Ipsen Grimm or whatever her name is, okay? You know, the George Santos's and what's the other, and Ron DeSantis and all that. I mean, you look at this. Why are these people so freaking unhappy? You know what I'm saying? It's got to be something going on within you mentally to be able to do that. So what you do is you try to get people to rally around you to support your mental habits. Y'all got mental issues. Martin Taylor, you really need to see a psychiatrist, girl. I'm telling you, you know,
somebody tell other people not to wear their sexuality, and you got your husband sitting next to you who so happen to love to wear dresses from time to time.
Oh wow! So let's talk about that for a minute.
Let's talk about that. Go ahead. You know, any fool that would sit up there and talk about you fostering children doesn't make you a parent, because you're not biologically that person's child.
That's stupid.
That child's biological parent. That is something mentally wrong with that.
Absolutely.
And she is the mistress of corruption to me.
I like that. Y'all put that on. Hey, that needs to. I'm sorry, that needs to be a T-shirt. Okay, the mistress of corruption. Yes. I like that. But go ahead.
She is. I call her the mistress of corruption and chaos, and especially within politics, because what she has done, she has caused a conversation which is not needed. It's not warranted. But it's just become now the thing to just go in and just disrupt anything that's going to help somebody get some things in order. Yes. And to be honest with you, for somebody who is representing a county and the state of Georgia in the middle of nowhere, what's it called? You know, when Oprah went down into remember when
Forsyth County.
Forsyth County.
Yes.
Now you remember the Oprah episode where she went down there and
Right,
tried to interview all that the white community. Now that's
the white supremacists.
the white that's her district.
Right.
That is her district. That is, she comes from that hamlet within these United States that do not care about change, they do not care for progressiveness, they do not care for diversity, and she is trying in her own little way to come to just really spread out that message to those people within the Midwest, within the West Coast, within the South.
I would say venom, but
that craziness, that angle, and it's called, she's called an Anglo-Saxon religion, to be honest with you. But it's just the fact that she is now considered to me the mistress of chaos and corruption for those who are really suffering within these United States, where it boils down to who cannot pay their bills, who cannot find legitimate Medicare. Or health insurance. She's not talking about that. She's talking about somebody's sexuality, somebody's kids in pornography, and all this other stuff. Stuff that she has dibbled and dabbled in within her own personal situation. It's coming out. I put it out there. It's coming out. It's coming out because she's full of corruption.
The truth behind
the truth behind the truth.
Go ahead.
When you spread fear like that within the world, within the atmosphere, that is something that's going on within you internally, within your own bedroom, within your own house. When you spread fear like that, that is something that you are doing that you're not even. You haven't went to seek a psychologist or psychiatrist for. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, she is spreading within the world her own intimate demons. And she's corrupting a whole power system because of it. So hey, y'all look out for that. It's coming out. It's coming out.
To piggyback on what you're saying, I look at the same situation that's going on in Florida around DeSantis. This man, realistically, I think has just got here. You see those emojis that go. I think the man has just lost his mind.
He another situation.
Really, because see, here's the thing. You, as we're saying on this show, you mark it to know what's today, June 3rd, 2023. You mark what we're saying on this show. Every one of these corrupt politicians, are going to experience something that is going to be extremely embarrassing to their lives. Because anytime that you have to make this type of allegiance to something, or to make these stands, you are covering up some own shit in your life. I'm sorry, I'm just going straight there with it. You're covering up something, and hey, it will come out. This is not the day and time to be covering up stuff. I'm gonna tell you now. I'm not just cussed. Now I'm gonna say it this way, as the biblical say, what's done in the dark, it's gonna come to the light. So you best be trying to tell the truth behind the truth and allowing your truth and your authenticity to come forward so that you can be a representation of what you're supposed to be on this planet. But I'm gonna say that. All right, we got to get ready to go for a break. But before we go to break, I do want to tell you real quick. For those, and when we come back, I don't know if you guys can see that. I meant to have it up so you guys can see it. This is a phenomenal book. At the end of the day, real talk. I will make sure that we get her website up for you and everything, so you can go on Amazon and get the book. This book is done by one of my good friends, Tara Coy. You see her name at the bottom. She's actually been on the show a couple of years ago, and we're gonna have her back again. But talking about this book, especially the day and age that what we're going through, to give you a clear understanding. Now, here's the tip about this: she is a heterosexual woman. That wrote this book. She spent the time to go in and get a clearer understanding of what it meant by these actual, as I call them, the new alphabet. The new alphabets. But giving you a very clear understanding, so therefore you won't be in a position of complete judgment on something you don't know about. You can't judge nothing that you don't know about. At the end of the day, and then when you know about it, you make a better educated decision. But with that in mind, we're gonna go for this quick break, and we will be right back.
need a pickup, call Junk Stars. Yeah. If you need a dumpster or a demolition, call Junk Stars. Yeah. Call 844-55-STARZ. Junk Stars. It's Junk Stars, baby.
Hey, my name is Thurston, and here I have my CEO, son Langston. We specialize in junk removal, dumpster rental, and demolition. So if you need junk removed,
call Junk Stars.
You need dumpster rentals,
call Junk Stars.
I am sick of people moving my desires because their desires are not being met in some way. I am sick of people telling me I can't go to a drag show. I'm sick of people telling me that my friends are different because you don't understand them. I'm sick of it. This is America. You're supposed to be able to be whoever you are. You know, stop with all this stuff. You want to talk about snowflakes? Who are the snowflakes, really?
The people scared of a flag.
The people scared of a flag? People who are scared of a drag brunch. It's a brunch. It's a brunch.
It's a rainbow flag.
Well, if you don't want to shop the clothes, walk to the other parts of the store. Like, why are you like taking pictures?
I'm getting really tired of this, and I'm trying not to say any bad words.
I'm trying not to say any bad words too.
Either. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for I know we were going to talk about that clip.
But I want to also add on to this. You know, this rhetoric of hate that is spewing out towards the land. Mm-hmm. You know, we had a conversation at your birthday brunch about this situation, about the infighting within the working class of Americans. Mm-hmm. And I feel like when it boils down to race, when it boils down to sexuality, when it boils down to religion, you know, this situation is really getting out of hand because we're all trying to make a way out of no way. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. We're all trying to pay our bills. We're all trying to survive. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But this has always been the recipe of dividing, yes, of some form of chaos when it boils down to us trying to get things done within this country. Right. And I'm sorry, and somebody is manufacturing this hate for a reason. Mm-hmm. Truth behind the truth. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you are watching this and you're not able to pay your rent, mm-hmm, if you're not able to pay your med bills or afford your prescriptions, or you're not able to at least find a job, why should this even be a conversation? Right. And this is why it is so important for you to get out there and vote. Right. On your local and state level. That's right. Forget it. I mean, the federal, you can vote the president in all you want to, but we don't have a monarchy. We don't have a monarchy. Right. And we definitely don't have a dictator in this country because the president, I call him the store manager of these United States. Mm-hmm. He has no control. Mm-hmm. But in your state and local levels, there are immediate change that will happen in your backyard. I'm telling you, if you are watching this, please go out and vote on your state and local levels. Right. Because it's so important for you to understand that who's ever running in your state, governor, mayor, superintendent, these people are running your lives. Right. And they're running your lives into the ground, to be honest with you, because if you don't know who these people are, you are up the creek without a paddle, my grandma would say. Absolutely. I totally agree. But going back to what Whoopi was saying, I'm so tired of it, but this is all about confusion and chaos and trying to divide working class people within this country who cannot even afford to get up and live their lives. Right.
That's true.
I'm
You
just-
know, I wanted to, and great points. I wanted to go back just real quick to to Whoopi, and I feel her, in terms of this particular disposition where we're going. It goes into what we started out at the beginning of the show with the Marjorie Taylor Greene, the George Santos, and
Ron
Ron DeSantis,
DeSantis.
and all of this, because it's ridiculous. Now, digging into this a little bit more, we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna open up. We're gonna celebrate the pride that but yet at the same time, we want to educate you in the process of pride, and then how the ridiculousness of people's lack of understanding of things. Because you're more connected, you in general. If it's you, hey, put the shoes on and wear them. But if you stop being so damn concerned about what people do privately and understand the value of what people bring, then you look at things a lot different. Everybody wants to be valued. I don't care where you come from, black, white, Hispanic, everything. Everybody wants to be valued, at the end of the day. So here's the thing. You need to pull it back, people. Okay? You need to pull it back. You really need to pull it back and just start looking at things for face value. Why? Here's the first question for you. Why are you so offended by two men and two women being together? That's just a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Why are you so offended? Okay. Somebody else, well, God said. God says a lot of things. But number one thing, he says something about you first before you start looking at anybody else. Okay. That's the first thing. But I won't get into that. I ain't gonna preach tonight. Okay. All right. That's the first thing. All right. So ask yourself that particular question. Why is it a problem for you? It's not a problem for them. They're living their life, and they're living their life very happily. Okay. What you should be doing is to find you somebody to love and be happy with that. Okay, nobody's asking you what you do when you close your door, because I'm gonna say some of y'all do some weird shit too. Okay, but you don't want to talk about that though when it comes up. All right, but you do. All right, so let's move on. So anyway, so dig into this a little bit further. So now there was this controversial thing about the teaching, especially out here in California. The child's book that they came out with. Okay, that was representing or bringing an understanding to how a same-sex marital couple situation would be. So all children would have that understanding of it. So we had these big people up and, I don't want my child doing this. I don't want them influencing my child. Okay, well, here's the thing. Number one, here's what happened. None of y'all read the book. Can you believe it? None of these people picked up the book? All you was assuming what you heard. So what the book did was just bring a sense of reality to these young children. Okay, a sense of reality. Because when you got a little buddy at school, and you're on the playground and whatever, and he said, "Well, my two mommies does A, B, and C." So what's the other child gonna do? Oh my God! Oh, you got two mommies, or two daddies. So here's the thing. It was an educational point, not to talk about somebody's sexuality performance. Okay, y'all got to stop this stuff. I mean, really. And I think what has happened is that the LGBTQ community has just been now, it would become the hot topic of the what's going on. So every little thing, every little soundbite, you jump on it, okay, and you make assumptions. Let me ask you another question. Here, how many of you are friends with someone that is of an LGBTQ community? How many friends do you have? Okay, how many times do you sit down and talk to an individual to see where they are as an individual, and stop assuming something that you don't know anything about? Because guess what? If you know about it, then you're a part of it. So you don't know about it, so stop making assumptions. Another point about it. I know you have one to say about it as well.
No, but we're going down a dangerous slope in this country because historically, when you think about when you're banning books, when you're telling people not to read certain things, you're also going down this you're repeating history all over again. Because it's when you was talking about them expelling certain things for the children not to read, I was thinking about when the Nazis, when they came into power in 34 or 33 to be exact, but when they finally got the footing to control Germany, they banned all the books.
Okay, right.
And they start banning, they start burning books, they start banning stuff. And when you start banning things within a country, you're getting prepared for a totalitarian country. Forget about that. I mean, you have thrown the nuance of democracy out the door. Now, I understand of religious reasons you cannot dibble and dabble in certain things. That's understandable. But when you start spreading that nuance to other people who do not support your religion or support whatever that you are doing culturally, then you're now trying to control the minds and the freedoms of other people.
That's right.
And that is what I call unfair. Now, like what we said, we're all Americans. We all live in this country to believe what we want to believe without disturbing somebody else's life.
Absolutely.
That I can agree with. If you don't like gay or anything, that's your problem. You live your life. But it's like Nina Simone said, I don't care if you don't live by me or if you don't like me, just give me my equality. Remember Mississippi Goddamn was the song. And in the phrase, he said, you don't have to live by me, but just give me my equality. Now she was talking about the black people and white people integrated, black folks to be exact. And it's kind of disingenuous to hear black people talk about to be homophobic. I'm sorry, if you're black and you're homophobic, that is so disingenuous. Because to be honest with you, there was a time in our history where they didn't even look at us as human beings. To be married and to hold property.
So jump to the point, and you can because you're our history buff, and we're going to mention him as well.
Hey,
brother, welcome.
Hey. Get into this conversation.
Get in.
Yeah.
But anyway, so go to your point, and I'll let you elaborate on his history. So I won't say this is an African American thing, but this is yet a part of the success of the civil rights movement, that happened in America, at the end of the day. And the gentleman that organized and made the March on Washington happen was a man of the LGBTQ community, and very much so on the forefront of that, and did a lot alongside Martin Luther King. Which is this gentleman here, but I'll let you talk about him in a little bit more in detail because I know you're the history buff about it.
Let's talk about a lot of them. Let's talk about Miss Billie Holiday, who wrote the first protest song that spread it all across the world. Strange Fruit, bisexual woman. Let's talk about people like not Duke Ellington, the literature, Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes, who gave us the literature to love our black skin. You know what I'm saying? We have been in this fight for many years to get the not the approval, but to push our people towards a greater life and success. And to those who would like to erase those names because they did not fit the prototype of what a black man or a black woman should be, they should be ashamed of themselves, number one, because how did we get here? How did we get this far?
Absolutely.
It didn't take only Martin Luther King to get us here. It took many years and many people to get us where we need to be. And Bayard Rustin was one of those people. He was considered a woke, a communist, a socialist, a man who he was black. Black first, but a homosexual. He was homosexual too. But the thing about it is, what really, when I read his story, what really gets into my skin is the fact that they use his sexuality as a way to discourage him, to discredit him. They do that to discredit the fact that you're doing the work that is necessary for humanity. And he was not only for black equality, he was for gay rights too, and for women's rights, and for anything that was very progressive of that time period, which got him on the McCarthy list, and also that had J. Edgar Hoover on his tail every time he went. That's why Martin Luther King made it clear, the people who represented Martin Luther King at the time, the Southern Christian. They did not want to put him on the top rank because he fitted the problem or the narrative that they didn't want to be they wanted to represent because they were of a Christian organization.
Absolutely.
Because of his gayness, because of his progressiveness, he was too radical for what they were trying to push. But boy, did he get in and he changed up the narrative of the civil rights movement. It was more of a nonviolent movement because of him too. And he organized that March on Washington and got the funding from Hollywood.
Absolutely. Yeah, he did.
Got the funding that movement needed to be successful because nobody was raising the money. Nobody could get the money. So who was there to get in the heads of Paul Newman or Marlon Brando, who got James Baldwin involved in the fact that, it was Bayard Rustin. And I'm sorry for those people who don't want to believe this, but believe this. Black people were not putting money and finances into the civil rights movement easily. Black people were scared. Black people were so scared of losing their jobs, their privileges, their livelihoods, their life, that they were like, we cannot put ourselves in the midst of this crazy, because that's what they believe Martin Luther King was doing.
Right.
A lot of craziness. Look into, I mean, it's out there.
Study the history for yourself.
It's out there on YouTube
Completely,
to see.
It's out there.
People were scared. So it took somebody like him who was just as radical to say, we're going to stand up and we're going to support you, regardless of our differences in sexuality and beliefs. I'm going to support you because I see there is a greater need in this movement for humanity. Go ahead, Parnell.
Hold one second. But so to your point, so much so that is what we are seeing, the representation of that in existence today. Okay, with this allegiance against, all of a sudden you don't like the LGBT community. You know, at the end of the day, you want to erase, but because of that one idiot that doesn't know his own self in Florida start something across the nation, which is simply ridiculous. But let me say this part, and let Parnell jump in. You know, don't forget that your churchgoers, all right, you got every choir director, every choir member, every pastor and associate pastor has had their opportunities being a part of the LGBT community. You don't like it? Okay, I'm sorry. You may interpret the scripture a different way. Fine for you. But don't push that off on somebody else, okay? At the end of the day, this is a place of love, acceptance, okay? Not because of what you think people have been doing behind closed doors. That's not what the acceptance is asking you. It's not your business, okay? The acceptance is accepting and loving them for the person that they are and not putting a label in front of it. But go ahead, Parnell.
Oh, I don't know if I have much more to say.
Well, we're glad to see you.
Yeah, Parnell.
Sorry to be so late. Traffic
That's
was
okay.
Crazy. But just to everybody, happy Pride Month, happy Black Music History Month.
Yes.
It's all going in there together. It's just, you know, with the weather getting warm and people are just in a celebratory mood.
Yes.
Of just recognizing
Driving crazy in LA.
Yes. And you know, it's funny because those cultures intersect a lot.
Yes.
You know, with Black music and with the LGBT community. I think it was as I realized how Black and how gay, like disco music is or was house music, you know, still is. That really that came out of there. And mostly Black artists drove that scene. And it's kind of like when I was a kid, I remember the whole disco sucks movement, and I knew that there was some racism behind it, of course. Basically, it's kind of interesting how this country will if one white person complains about something, then all white society goes like, oh, we got to get rid of that. We can't keep that. You know, even with I forget her name, Amanda. I forget the young lady who did the speech at Joe Biden's.
Amanda Gordon.
Yes. You know, with her poem being banned out of elementary schools or whatever because of one ignorant woman. Now I can say because she's like, when you find out, well, I didn't really read the whole poem. I just saw the word communism, and I'm like, and that was enough for y'all to say, oh, we got to pull that out. Like, now it's different if you read something cover to cover, understand what it's about, and you object to it. Fine. But you just read one little word or one little sentence, go like, oh my God, that poem said communism. That's terrible. Our children shouldn't learn about. And then for people to jump up behind it. And it's the same thing that we see going on, like as Dee was talking about with Ron DeSalty. You know, this whole thing, all this stuff with Disney is all about him trying to say whose is bigger, basically. You know? Because it's not based in any sort of real foundation other than you have the nerve to stand against me.
Exactly.
You know, which in this country should be enough to be like, no, you can be mad about it all you want to, but what you cannot do is use your status as a governor for personal vendettas.
Exactly. And it seems like that's what's happening because it's personal endeavor. But you probably didn't get that. We addressed that at the earlier part of the show, you know. And you got to watch Karma. Like, I'm gonna use it as Karma this time. Karma is a shown up bitch, and when she show up, she's gonna bring all your shit with her. Okay, ain't gonna dangle it right in your face. But I know we got to go to a quick break. But when we come back, we want to hear more, from your points about what about the celebration. One thing I do want to get into, and we're going to set the framework for our conversation we'll have later this month about the transgender situation that's going on, and try to help people understand that a little bit different, and maybe give them a little backstory. So we'll talk about that when we come back. All right, we'll be right back after this break. All right, and we are back, guys. Thank you so much for tuning into The Truth Behind the Truth tonight. We're hoping that it is really the truth behind the truth, and you making it yours. And what you do with this information that we're providing is clearly up to you. We really do hope that you walk away from it with more love for humanity and make those necessary changes. Hey, we love everybody. I know some of y'all, send in and say, why do I always talk about Black stuff? Okay, our position in terms of Black stuff is not to be throwing off on people. Okay, at the end of the day, we want you to be educated in the fact of what has happened throughout these experiences that people have had, throughout the course of their life. And the majority of these other shows that are out here don't dig in and give you history. Okay, they talk about this is constantly, but they're never giving you any solutions to help you. So both of you, whether you Black, white, Hispanic, whatever. But until we get to a place where we really understand one another and where people either get their trauma from, or their experiences from, or their ideas from, we'll never be able to understand one another completely. And it's our responsibility as humans to get to that particular point, where we are in our life. So I know going to break, I wanted to talk about just briefly, on the transgender problem that's going on. The reason I'm bringing this up tonight, we're going to do a future show about this. So we encourage you to come back, and maybe later on in the month, we're going to have an expert that has made their transition and whatever, to speak from their standpoint of view. But I do want to mention this, and we can talk about it. So the idiot that was in the White House, at one point, has put one of his videos out once again, which is I think it's probably what can you say this is the most despicable thing this man can consistently do? Well, what he said basically, in his own words, that if he gets to be elected again, then he's going to put laws in place that on parents that they will be prosecuted and sent to jail for gender reassignment of their children. I was like, what the frick are you doing? You know what I'm saying? So you are really crossing the line. You talking about government overreach, whether you are like it or not. At the end of the day, that is clearly overreach. That's exactly going back to what you're talking about: Nazism, McCarthyism, all these type of things being sort of. And then the thing about it is that these stupid idiots, and I hope some of y'all listen or see this, the stupid idiots that got on behind it, making comments. Oh yeah, then this is the man that I'll put everything aside to vote for him. What?
Right.
What? Really? I mean, how it just, and I get it, but again, here's our ideas of things. Let's say this. You guys, I know I'm running my mouth. I want you guys to talk, but it really it's just beyond me to a group of people that's out here that don't even know what's going on in your household, like we've been talking about. And then you're characterizing someone else's child for what their decision together has made for what they feel is best for their child. Get the hell out of people's lives. All right, but go ahead.
No, I'm definitely agree because it is definitely, I remember when T Clown was in office and people were saying, the stuff about, this is how Nazi Germany started. This is how Hitler started. People are like, oh, you guys, you're overreacting. He's not born anybody into ovens. I'm like, neither did Hitler at the beginning. That came along later because nobody opposed him when he seemed to be harmless per se. It's just like, oh, okay, well, that's cute. So he's like, are we supposed to wait until millions of people die before we call it out for what it is?
So people mind probably so. January 6th. Go ahead.
Yeah, right, exactly. They try to make that, it was just, some innocent, what do they call them?
Tourists.
Yeah, tourists. I'm like going, these were not tourists. And y'all just kind of tell us again, don't believe what you saw with your own eyes. Believe what we're telling you. It's like, no, we saw what was happening.
Right.
And it's just as we're approaching Independence Day, it's kind of looking at it, it's like, wait a minute, our entire nation's history has been about kowtowing to white supremacy. It's always making it. Well, we don't want to make the white people mad. We don't want to hurt their feelings. We don't want to make them feel bad about themselves or their history. But on the other hand, you don't want to pay reparations for slavery now because we didn't do it. Nobody alive was born then. I said, well, then you should have no problem talking about the horrors of slavery because nobody alive was born then. So you should be able to talk about it honestly and fully. Not just the part that makes white people feel good or feel comfortable with talking about. With erasing, the whole thing with oh God, I forgot her name.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
No. See, it happens after 50. Who refused to give up her seat on the bus.
Rosa Parks.
God, wait. It's just like that, erasing the fact that she, as a Black woman, was asked to give up her seat for a white person to sit there. And with these school boards trying to, let's take that part out and just say that she refused to give up her seat, but doesn't want to put it into context so that people don't feel that white children will feel. It's like, it's not the white children you're worried about. Because the white kids will look at it and go like, oh, that was terrible. That was mean. It's the fact that it was some of these people who are alive today or their parents or their grandparents who were involved in this, that they feel bad about, I don't want my grandchild to know that I was a racist piece of crap.
Right.
Or am.
It's okay. Go ahead.
But not to be random, but I went to school in Alabama, and I can I went, and this is just random because this is not connected, but it's I'm gonna bring it to a point. But when you're not doing your own research, anybody could tell you what they want to tell you, and they want you to believe what they believe.
Exactly, that's true.
I remember one time I was taking a speech class at the time because I had a speech impediment, and there were certain words I couldn't even pronounce, so I had to take a speech class, which I don't think they even provide these days. But other than that, though, this woman wanted to tell me because I was into Princess Diana at this time. I don't know why. As a young kid, you just don't know why you just into stuff. But we had a light conversation, and then we were talking about Princess Diana, and I can recall, and this is third grade too. I said, she married into royalty because she was of the aristocratic class, right? Now, in that hierarchy, in that society over there in the UK, they consider the aristocrats or the British people commoners, which I didn't understand. But as time progresses, you learn more,
Right.
you start to understand what it meant. But being of the aristocratic class, you are next to royalty, right?
Uh-huh.
So I kept explaining to the lady, because she kept saying, well, Diana was of a commoner, of a common class.
Uh-huh.
She made it sound like Diana was poor. And I said, wait a minute, no, she's not poor. She was of the aristocratic class,
Uh-huh.
because I read it.
Mhm.
I've seen the documentaries. I know of that,
Uh-huh.
of that line, of that time. And we just kept battling it out. And she said, well, you probably just need to look. You just don't know what I'm talking about. But like I say, if you don't do your research, if you do not pick up a book, if you do not find any type of information that is going to back up what somebody is trying to tell, that's going to combat what somebody's trying to tell you in
Right.
their own crazy rhetoric,
Right.
then you have no leg to stand on, which is Black history.
Right.
If Black parents are not sitting their children down and telling them the nuances of our culture, of our history, some white woman or some white man, and I hate to say the truth behind the truth, will tell you that Rosa Parks was a white woman or an Indian woman that didn't give up her seat, because somebody in the house did not tell you the story,
Right.
the real story.
Right.
And that really breaks the yoke of ignorance
Right.
within any society when
Right.
somebody is teaching you of your history
Right.
and within your home.
Right. Right.
Because you cannot tell me that Rosa Parks was of any other color
Right.
when a policeman got on that bus that day and told her to move for a white man.
Right.
Why would he have told a white woman to get up out of her seat for a white man?
Right.
It makes no sense.
Right.
But some fool will believe it because somebody is not teaching within the home the
Right.
history of their people.
Right.
And it's wrong on many levels to tell that lie,
Right.
Parnell.
Right.
But I'm
Mhm.
like, but you know what? People will believe because they do not do their homework. Somebody like Trump will
Uh-huh.
tell you
Right.
who you are, and you will believe it.
Right. Right.
And going back to people underestimating Trump, the Hitler and Trump
Uh-huh.
analogy,
Uh-huh.
people in the 30s within this country of the United States underestimated Hitler. They even gave him leader Times magazine of 1938
Uh-huh.
gave him leader of the year because he was considered one of the greatest politicians of his time in 1938. I'm talking, and then come 1945 when all of these concentration camps started opening up. So this man, who we thought was a great politician of his time, murdered 6 million people, but we didn't believe it. We couldn't believe it. Just like we don't believe Trump could go down that very same road, truth behind the truth.
Right.
People need to wake up. They need to wake up to their own ignorance and start doing their research. Truth behind the truth.
Right.
Black, white, Hispanic.
Right.
Pick up a book and read your history.
Right.
It's
so
all
true.
there for you
So
to
true.
believe.
It's
But
so true.
I'm sorry for taking up too
Oh
much
no,
time.
no.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead, Parnell.
Oh no, I'm just listening to
Girl, you know what? I can take up too much time, but truth behind the truth. This
Right.
is the truth.
Right.
This is why it is so important for you to have a critical thinking skill within
Right.
your life,
Mhm.
because people will tell you
Right.
about things. You be like, wait a minute, is that really true?
Right.
Then it must be something to believe because it came from a pastor.
Right.
It came from a politician.
Right.
It came
Right.
from a teacher.
Right.
I'm just saying, you have to have those skills within you to
See,
go against the grain.
You struck a note for me right there. Okay, the theology is always a situation that we always kind of categorize that as being, a
Mhm.
church or social situation. Well, he's a graduate of this theology, whatever. Theology is theology. It's just a theory behind an idea that you had to bring. Same way with Christianity. He's been to theological school and he's this, that, and the third, and whatever. But here, you fail to realize this man has developed a theory based upon what somebody else has taught him about a certain sector, and what he does is he mixes his own idea with that and comes up with his own theory. Okay, so the same things you're talking about. If you are not an individual that are not a critical thinking person, which we do encourage you to become if you're not, develop the theory that develops the truth behind the truth for you. At the end of the day, that's where it all comes in. It has to be not his truth, not his theory, not that person's theory, because you were created as an individual, okay? As an individual to think and have a free will of your own, okay? Of your own, not to be told to do this thing. But then again, too many people are sheep. All right, that's a whole other sheep. And you know what happens if you follow sheep? You step in sheep shit, okay? Okay, and sheep put out a lot of shit. Okay, so that's what we said. All these sheep out here putting out a lot of shit that you know that you shouldn't be following. At the end of the day, you need to put some boots on and get around them, or whatever you need to do to get around it. Okay, but back to his point though. But really, seriously, think about this, people. Think about what this man is saying here. Make this an important part of your life to be more investigative. Okay, and stop listening to conspiracy theories. Oh my God! Again, conspiracy theories doesn't matter. Somebody comes up with a theology based upon their idea of what they want to see out of a certain situation. You know, we've got theories now going on about the gas prices is Biden's fault. It's a theory. The what is it? Everything going because it's Biden's fault. It's another theory. Okay, no people does their complete investigation. Okay,
Not at all.
Not at all. If you understand the political system and go back and check the facts, okay, every president has an issue of a rise and a fall. Okay, you don't want to give the true aspect of the rise of the economy that happened when that clown got in office, because it was already preset that President Obama had already put in motion. Okay, but you don't want to give it to him because you know that would have been contributed to the success of what this man did for this country. Here's a little thing, just real quick inside, I'm gonna shut up.
Oh, no.
Just like when he got into office, he said that his purpose was to do his best to make all Americans successful and move in some sort of prosperity. But you know, he lined himself up with to do that. The most wealthiest man in the world was on his board, Warren Buffett. Okay, so Warren Buffett gave him an idea to how to frame things to make this country more prosperous. But you guys don't know that because you didn't investigate that. You weren't there. Okay, at the end but you want to say, oh, now all of a sudden this clown gets in the White House telling you during the middle of COVID to stick bleach in your arm. Okay, or get some sanitizer to spray in your face. I'm being facetious. Spray in your face so you can get rid of COVID. Really? He didn't even know what COVID was. Okay, at the end of the day, had no clue. All you could say, I'm just going to blame it on China. Really? You know, somebody that sits. So here's the thing. You guys, okay, those of you that think that this man need to be back in office, check yourself. All right? Realistically, no president, I don't care who is in office, is going to be for your pocket all the time. Don't believe that, please. Please don't believe that. All right? Please don't believe that. All right? Will not be for your pocket. Anyway, go ahead, Pernell.
No, I mean, it's just... It's interesting because I had a young man last night. We were out celebrating Pride, and he's like, "I asked you, is that was it?" I'm saying, he like, I asked guys who are older than me, you know, has it always been this crazy? Was it this crazy when you were like my age? And you know, I said the craziness comes in waves. You know, there's progress that happens, and then people who benefit from other people being oppressed get upset about it, and they fight against, and they try to take things back to the times where basically, Christian straight white men were the only ones who had a voice, and then people are like, no, and then we fight against that again.
To your point about the Christian white men that don't have that was the rest stops, okay, having illicit sex, okay, you know. Okay, so you know we can go there and tell you some more truth behind the truth. Okay, so rest stop. You ask yourself the question why rest stops got shut down on the highways and what was going on in the rest stops.
JB, stop hijacking my.
I'm sorry.
That's a whole other.
You struck a nerve. I was like, let me put that on there. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But I mean, that's kind of how we watch things go. That there's progress made, and then those people who benefit from being the pressure, they press against it. Oh, too many people are getting too many equal rights that I had, and I don't like that. And that's how I said, what you see now, and I've said this before, I said, what we see now is the last gasp of white supremacy. Because they are panicking, and not all white people. I hate having to always say that, but you know, people are like, not all white people. Yes, we know, but white supremacy is on its last dying breath. As we're watching people of color take up more of the population in the United States, we're seeing white people panic because, well, what happens if we're not the majority anymore? What happens if we're not the ones in charge? And it's like, what happens is everybody else gets a chance to make their voice heard. They get to be represented. Now we have more people who are just like, listen, we have Black, we have white, we have Asian, we have Latino, we have Pacific Islander, we have all these different people who are living here. And guess what? They deserve an opportunity for their voices to be heard, for their faces to be seen, for their stories to be told. So what's going to happen is we get some balance and some equality. And, you know, people have said it all the time. So yeah, when you're used to privilege, equality feels like oppression.
Wow, that's good. That, can you repeat that again? That is good.
It's not. I wish it was my original idea, but it's like
Right.
when you are used to privilege, equality feels like oppression.
Is that not something you talk about a clear truth behind the truth? That is powerful. Oh my gosh! I mean, that's one of those moments that I would. Well, I won't use that term, but you know, did you have to stop and take pause? You know what I mean? And that's just not applicable for that, but that's applicable for everybody. That's why it's so, I think, so original, but it is so spiritual. So a great vibe comes from that, but because it makes you take pause and think for a moment. Wow, you know. And in some sort of way, you know, here's the thing: we are all guilty of that aspect in some sort of way in our behaviors. Okay. Yes, it is magnified on a certain culture and more, but we're all that way in some sort of way. And I think a lot of times is that, you know, on the Black side of things, we really don't recognize or choose to recognize some of our faults in the same areas. Okay, not being necessarily because of the color of the skin, but it's just how we treat one another. You know what I'm saying? How we do things in the way of that and within the ranks of our families, and, you know, and the list can go on about that. So I think, you know, we all have to have a certain level of responsibility of how we treat one another at the end of the day. You know, because like we had said earlier in the part of the show, is that if you're not dictating love from the beginning, when you put your feet on the floor in the morning, you got a problem. You know, and that encompasses everything that you just mentioned right there. If love is not your motive every day of getting out of that bed, you got a problem. And love has no color. Okay, at the end of the day, it has no color whatsoever. It has a responsibility. You know, and the responsibility is to execute what it's about. You know, as they said, love, unconditional love, like it's truly said, it's unconditional. There's no condition that love cannot be a part of at the end of the day. But I'm saying, go ahead.
I mean, I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. But you know, one thing I'm what makes me fear sometimes about whatever supremacy that somebody's coming, that we're trying to maneuver, there's always going to be somebody around the corner with their own ideas of power.
Right.
You know, don't get me wrong. And I'm not trying to, well, partner, I don't want to debate what you just said. But one thing I'm always in fear about, let's just scrape off, you know, what if this is the last gasp of white supremacy? But then you have somebody else that has accommodated that idea for so long that they start to put it within their own agenda or to try to, because it's so many ways to bring some form of that type of idea. And if it comes off as vague, but that is my fear of somebody, just if we're going to make things better, if that makes sense for people of gay, you know what I'm trying to get.
Exactly.
Same sex, black, or what. We need to understand, like, we're all in this together, but there's going to be somebody who's going to bring their own. We just got to stop accommodating white supremacy in all forms.
Right.
That's what I want to say.
Okay.
Stop accommodating white supremacy in all forms.
Right.
And that's what I wanted to put out there. I want to put that out there.
And just to say that we just need to stop celebrating it in our conversation. Because if you ever get past something, you got to put it in your past. And we keep putting it in our future.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So take that opportunity to remove it from your future. Yes, it's a part of your past to understand how to move forward in your future and then make better decisions around that. You know, at the end of the day. Hey guys, this has been a wonderful conversation tonight. Gosh, we wish you were here a little earlier, but we love that you made it. We understand, we totally understand, but it has been a beautiful night. I mean, it is. And again, as I said at the top of the show, if you have family members that are part of the LGBT community, get out and celebrate with them. Okay, it is an opportunity to celebrate the pride that they have about themselves. Okay, and appreciate that. If you don't know anything about them, sit down and have a conversation with them. Learn about them as they learn about you. All right, learn what they do, not what they do in their bedroom. Okay, at the end of the day, that's not your business. All right, learn about the person. Okay, learn about the person. Trust me, you'll find out some good information. You know, from the process. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for being here. We will see you next week with more Dig. And we apologize for not saying happy Asian Pacific Month last month, but happy. All right, bye. We'll see y'all next week.